Hey everyone, this is Raccoon from Nintendo Era. For the first episode of the Nintendo Pipeline, we went a little bit longer than anticipated. So, for ease of listening, we've split our conversation into three parts. Here's the first part of our March 16th conversation, where we went over some recent news and announcements.
Hello, everybody. This is the first episode of the Nintendo Era podcast. And since this is our first episode, we're mostly going to be talking about Bowser's Fury today. But before all of that, let's introduce ourselves. I'm CMM1215, but you can call me Clay.
I'm One Up Muffin on the Discord, and Jared in real life.
And I'm Barry, better known as Raccoon.
All right. Well, before we get into our main topic of Bowser's Fury, I wanted to cover a little bit of semi-recent news, namely the Nintendo Direct that happened in February, along with the Pokemon Presents, since those are really they're like the most major news we've had so far this year. So, first off, we had a few major announcements in that direct, namely Skyward Sword HD, Mario Golf, and Splatoon 3. So I kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on these and how you felt about the reveals and what's coming. We can start with you, Jared.
Yeah, I was actually very impressed by this direct. While there's nothing on the caliber of like a new Mario or Zelda, I think Splatoon 3 could be a very exciting point in the series. 2 was made in only a couple years, and now they've had a full development cycle to make a sequel. So hopefully that'll lead to an exciting single player and some cool multiplayer changes.
And what about you, Barry?
I have devoted a year and a half of my life to waiting for a Nintendo Direct. And we finally got one, and it's the longest we've ever had, which blows my mind to think about that the first one was so long after so much time. And it was okay. Like, I I um I actually remember being really sour on it when it was first live, and then I gave it like a half hour, and I was like, it was pretty good. Definitely gonna buy Miitopia. I think Miitopia being a port or a remake, actually, it's a remake by Grezzo. Um, Miitopia being a remake says something sort of interesting for speculation about Nintendo's intent with some future developments, because Miitopia came out on the 3DS in 2017. Um, so it wasn't really it didn't have as much exposure as, but it was still successful. So it's interesting that we could potentially see some projects that didn't get that attention get a second chance.
Yeah, I really like it for two reasons. Besides, like the game seems interesting, and I'd
Yeah,
like
I'm
to give it a
excited to play
try.
it.
Yeah.
But one, it means 3DS remakes are possible, and there's a lot of amazing 3DS games that I would love to see on the Switch. And it means Mii's are back, baby.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Mii's. I
I
have
love
so many on
Mii's.
Switch, and I've had nothing to do with them.
I feel so sad because most of my Mii's are they're just stuck on my Wii in hell.
Yeah.
But I do love them, and I'm glad to see them getting, another shot with Miitopia. But on another note, yeah, I mean, I kind of felt similar to Raccoon or Barry. I liked it. There wasn't that much that was specifically for me, which is fine. Um, but I think there were a lot of announcements, and there was a pretty decent variety of announcements, and showcases and stuff. Skyward Sword, I'm not super wild about that game to begin with, but I do think it's good to have it available on Switch. I'm glad that they, are still leading with the motion combat because that was actually what I liked the most about the Wii version of that game. Mario Golf, I think I can just summarize in speed golf. Like speed golf and Wii Sports like motion controls, I was very on board with that. And then Splatoon 3, I think the new setting is interesting. It kind of gives like a Mad Max sort of vibe, and I like some of the changes that they've shown so far, like dropping into battle and like some of the new weapons and stuff.
Yeah, there's a bow now.
There is a bow now. That's true. Yeah, and I'm interested with where what other kind of weapon classes and changes to single player and stuff that there'll be.
Yeah, I think the one thing for me that would have just brought it up a level is I think what brought me to Nintendo and we haven't seen for a few years, I guess besides like Bowser's Inside Fury, is like a new like platformer. So I was hoping to see one of those, but besides that, I think it was a really solid showing.
Yeah, and so on that note, well, a little bit. There were obviously we had some major announcements, but there were also a lot of fun bits, and I thought it would be nice to maybe bring up some of the stuff that wasn't as like oh crap, it's Splatoon 3, but other stuff that you guys liked in the direct. I'll go first on this one. Just wanted to mention that Famicom Detective Club actually coming to the West is wonderful. I will not rant about how I wish it was a physical version, but I'm very happy that that game is getting a chance in the West. What about you guys?
Yeah, I would actually agree with you on that. Famicom Detective Club, right?
Yes. Yep.
Famicom Detective Club. It's I love seeing these type of old, previously Japanese exclusive titles being released here. I know we had Moon last year, and now FTC. It's great that these games can see new audiences.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry. Go ahead, Barry. As I was going to ask you
yeah,
anyway.
I I think it's cool that we finally got Fall Guys.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
mean, when I saw it, my first instinct was that it's way past dead, and it is. It's kind of old news, but it's very Nintendo-ish,
I definitely think it'll get a new boost of life on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a game that I wanted to hit Switch. The only thing um, about that is just I would be interested in playing it, but I'm probably not interested if it's me spending like $20 on a game that's online only. But
Yeah,
that kind
Yeah.
of
though it was
dampens
just
it.
purchased by Epic Games, and they
Oh,
previously bought Rocket League and made that free. So
Oh,
I definitely see
yeah.
Fall Guys having a free to play future.
Yeah, I feel like that game works better with that. I can't believe I'm saying that, but yeah, like that
yeah.
particular game I think does better as a free to play experience.
Yeah, and
Speaking of,
they just announced Among Us characters for it. Speaking of another like
Amogus.
oh
bad game.
yeah, yeah.
Amogus.
Yeah.
When the fall guy is sus. Okay. Um,
Uh, Speaking of like really small things, I think it's interesting, especially for understanding the format and speculation about directs, that Animal Crossing DLC was in the direct, and that it was Mario Animal Crossing DLC, because those two factors, that it was DLC, which we've seen very separate timeline of announcements from other Nintendo things in the past year. Um, so separate, there's a separate Twitter account. Um, and then the DLC, which was originally announced in the Mario Direct last September, um, both of those being in a general Nintendo Direct is kind of interesting for people like me who have in the past followed speculated about what the format means. Um,
yeah, it is. I wasn't expecting the Animal Crossing Mario content to be shown there, because yeah, like you said, they typically have that just kind of as its own separate thing. So I figured when it got closer, we'd get a video for it. But then they were like, "Hey, look, I guess we're gonna show it here." So who knows?
Yeah, I think ultimately it just depends on timing. There aren't really as many hard and fast rules um, as you would think, but I think there are some. There's an understanding internally of what belongs in certain shows. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it just depends on the timing for some stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. I think we've all learned at this point that quote unquote rules just kind of
Yeah.
they just
And
don't really
there's
apply.
actually a first party Nintendo game that we missed.
Oh,
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
that?
it's DC Superhero
no,
Girls.
no, right.
It's published by Nintendo.
That's true. And we did find
Um,
out that that's
it's
being
kind of surprising.
developed by the Deadly Premonition guys.
Oh,
Oh
weird.
no. uh,
So who's picking it up in June? I think it hits June. Day
is it
one?
June?
Yeah, I believe it's June. I could be crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but also, Neon White was an interesting surprise. I thought that game looked very interesting.
Which one was that?
Neon White was like that. It was like that first-person battle game, but you had
Oh,
cards.
with the cards.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
FPS deck builder. That did look interesting.
yeah.
Interesting dev on that, right?
Oh yeah, who did that? That's a
They did something completely different before.
dang. I actually don't even
Yeah.
know what they did.
Shoot.
That's
I think
interesting.
I remember hearing about it, being really impressed that they had pivoted. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, hmm.
I just looked it up. It was Ben Esposito who did Donut County.
Donut County,
Very
of
different
course.
title.
I should know that.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Yeah, that's
It's a Raccoon game.
yeah, yeah.
I need to try that. That's on a non-Nintendo service
Oh.
called Xbox Game Pass.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
oh boy, here we go.
It's
All
already
right.
started.
Well, on that note,
10 minutes in.
on that note, next up-
Pokemon!
No, not Pokemon. Not Pokemon.
Oh,
You can
okay.
talk. We'll get to Pokemon. Don't worry.
I don't even like Pokemon.
I don't think any
another
of us like Pokemon.
another big announcement was the opening announcement, which was the next Fire Pass character was Pyra/Mythra, and they're out now. They have been for a bit. Who here has tried them out?
I have.
I haven't.
Well, you suck. No, I'm kidding. All right. Well, then, Jared, tell me what do you think of them from what you played?
Yeah, so they're actually really interesting. So for those who don't know, Pyra and Mythra were kind of like the old way Zelda and Sheik were, where you press down B and you switch between them. Except they're not as different as Zelda and Sheik were. Think of them more like a Marth and Roy. Pyra is strong and slower, and Mythra is fast but less powerful. I think they're actually pretty fun to play. I definitely prefer Pyra because I lean more towards the strong and slower characters. But yeah, her moveset's very very enjoyable. Less gimmicky than some like Minecraft Steve, but still a great addition to the roster.
Yeah, she's definitely more straightforward than some of the other characters. I do really enjoy their move sets, and I like that they made their specials different and their general properties too. Just down from their speed to Pyra obviously having flames, and being able to kind of toggle between them very very quickly. I'd also like to mention the content that came with them. The stage I thought was really neat. It's simple but like cool. And
It's pretty. It's a pretty stage.
it is a very pretty stage, and the music that they included was actually a decent amount of music. Not a huge number of new remixes, but there were 16 tracks in there, and Tiger Tiger's the best one. That's all I'm saying. Barry, what do you think about her? Just having not played her and kind of seeing her a little bit.
Long ago, long ago, I vowed that I would never buy Xenoblade 2 characters in Smash Bros. I did this quite publicly across multiple direct threads. And I've really proven myself a fool now because they're real and they happened and I don't care at all. Like, I'm not really upset, but I haven't bought them because I haven't even bought Sephiroth because I really only play Smash Bros. Socially, and that's kind of for circumstances unforeseen, not viable right now.
Right.
So
It's a
I haven't.
time like any other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's neat. Fans seem happy with it. Some of them happier than others, but we won't talk about that. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's neat. I don't. I guess I've grown up a little bit in the past year because I just can't be all that upset by a Smash character.
That's good.
Character development.
Yeah.
2020,
that's my
a
arc.
year of growth.
Yeah.
That's the arc. All right. Well, since you enthusiastically mentioned it,
Pokemon?
Oh, yeah, Pokemon.
Is it Pokemon time?
Yeah. So we had a Pokemon Presents, and they showed the main stuff that they showed was Brilliant Diamond, and Shining Pearl. I just know it as BDSP at this point. That's what I wrote down. And then they also showed Pokemon Legends Arceus. So I guess we'll start with you then, Barry. What did you think based on the presentation for both of those?
Pokemon Legends is sick. I think that people are ridiculous in criticizing it. Oh, that's not true. People have reason to be critical of how it looks, but people are acting like it's super ugly or whatever. And it's like, it's pretty much, we can assume, a year out, right? They said early 2022.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a year out, I think it looks great in terms of style. We went from, because I think Pokemon Sword and Shield, because I played some of Shield, and I've seen a lot of it, and I think that Sword and Shield are just some of the most astoundingly hideous games. I could end it there. I will. Not even just on Switch. Just like really, really terrible looking. And Legends, in my opinion, looks great. And Diamond and Pearl, that's interesting. That's unexpected. I was a little surprised that they outsourced a remake, although it makes sense when you look at the broader picture, knowing what we do with Legends.
Right.
That the Gen 4 stuff was kind of a, an exported thing. And it's interesting to see that for Game Freak now, the demands of maintaining the brand and the game's development has sort of eclipsed their growth. And they can't quite keep up the same schedule if they're going to add something like Legends to what they're doing. And that's fine, I think. I know that there are some people who really dislike Diamond and Pearl. I know of like a couple people in particular that I know who are like really upset by it. I think they look fine. Like they're goofy looking, but it's Pokemon. It looks like the DS game. That's a pro and a con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind the chibi style. I think it's all right. They were actually like I haven't played many Pokemon games in my time, but the last one I played was Pearl.
Okay.
So I have that connection, but I mean, I don't care enough. Of these two, I think Legends is far more exciting and could be the first Pokemon I play since Pearl, just because it seems so different.
The first Pokemon I played was X.
God, y'all
That's
are
not true.
y'all are babies.
No, my first was Yellow.
Oh, okay.
My last
well,
one
you're
was
okay.
Yeah.
Barry's a child.
I am a child. I played a little bit of like one of my older sister's Emerald carts, but like the first one that I had for me was X. I was like 12, I think, when that game came out, like 12 or 13, and it was okay. It was fine.
Yeah.
I kind of feel about Pokemon as a whole the way I felt about the February Direct. It was whatever. It happened.
Yeah.
Some people liked it, and that's cool.
I want to like Pokemon a lot more than I do. I usually like the
Yeah.
spin-offs more. Which
Yeah.
They showed a new Pokemon Snap trailer here too, which was neat.
Yeah, that was what I was personally most invested in, and I loved it. So, and yeah, in regards to those two main games, I think we can all easily agree that Legends is the more interesting one. Just
Yeah.
God,
And I guess
all right.
for like a brief thing, Legends is like, what if Pokemon was open world?
Yeah.
For people that didn't see the trailer.
Yeah.
If you're the one person
I,
that
I,
didn't.
I don't want to say it, but I'll just say it anyway because everyone's thinking it. Pokemon of the Wild. But no, it's interesting. BDSP, I thought, like when I first looked at them, my immediate thought was, oh, it's like the Game Boy and DS style, but in HD, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I saw the reaction. Everyone's like, I hate this, and I was like, oh, okay. I
Yeah,
don't.
I was surprised by
Yeah,
the reaction.
I was a bit surprised that it was as like angry as it was. I mean, I know it's Pokemon, and Pokemon makes everyone
Yeah.
angry, but
Pokemon brings out the vitriol in people like nothing else.
yeah, but like even then, I was like, oh, okay. And I mean, I get it. If they were looking, I think there were a lot of people looking for a more like Pokemon Sword and Shield styled remake,
Yeah.
which
Mhm.
I get. Just kind of, I get that. Personally, I thought it looked clean. I thought it
Yeah.
looked nice. I'm hopeful that it includes the platinum content that people want. I know there's been some like, a couple of small things that people have been like, oh, look, that's from platinum. So I mean, we'll see. But as someone who doesn't like Pokemon very much outside of spin-offs, Legends is definitely the more interesting one to me, and it's definitely still far out. I mean, I'm not expecting it to be like, you know, like look like God of War by the time it's done, but
Yeah.
it'll definitely look better. So, um,
Yeah.
but anyway, that's enough on all of the news stuff. That actually was much longer than I thought it would be. We had a lot to talk about.